Hello.
Hi, Steve.
Oh, hello, Pete. How are you?
This is Steve as manager.
Oh, hi.
How you doing? You ready to go?
Yes.
Okay, mate. I'll pass you over to Pete.
Thank you.
Cheers. Hi.
Hello, Pete. How are you?
I'm alright. I'm sorry I'm not doing this face-to-face, actually.
Oh, no worries.
Oh, I don't really enjoy the telephone ones, but it's, I'm just absolutely exhausted today, and there was no way I could drag my weary old carcass across the city to do a face-to-face interview.
I can imagine. You just got over flu, huh?
Yeah, a mild case of flu, but also the promo schedule with, I guess, about 80% of it's things that I'd rather not be doing. There's the crack of dawn radio interviews and things like that.
I see.
And it's things that I'd actually put a long way behind me, and they're all, jumping up like old carcasses, and it's part of the job, I guess,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess, how many weeks you got left to do it? A couple?
Yeah, it's only, actually, I think it's next week the single's released, but I'm absolutely horrified that we've received basically no radio airplay whatsoever, which is very disappointing, although I'm becoming a regular on TV and a TV celebrity. It seems that the last thing anybody wants me to do is promote a record. They just want me to actually promote myself.
Well, this is interesting. This was one of the points I wanted to raise with you, actually, because Susie Sue recently said that her image always gave people the opinion that the Banshees were all about veneer. Do you think your visual image overshadows the music? Obviously you do.
Well, define to me how you would classify veneer. We've got to do it like give and take here. How would you classify the veneer thing?
Well, that's a good point. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with what she's saying. I mean, that's her words. That's a direct quote. But veneer image. Obviously, a lot of critics did think that the Banshees were, I guess, I don't know, a little second rate. I
don't think that they thought they were second rate. I just think that as a female, she represented a very, very strong threat.
Yes.
One, she wasn't blonde, which seems to, be something that goes against women in the music industry to this day. Anybody who is dark and slightly broody is something that they find intimidating. And without being arrogant about it, just let me go back to one incident that happened this weekend. I won't name the TV show, but my video, which is just completed, was programmed to go on a certain Saturday morning TV show, and we received a call a few hours before saying, no, we've decided to drop it because he's too weird and scary for our viewers. Well, I think, okay, that's very fine, and I'm lying in bed on Saturday morning and Marilyn Manson's video goes on.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, how can I be weird and scary when this guy, be it true or not, represents inciting schoolyard shootings and Nazi symbolism and things like that? I seem to intimidate people even more than Marilyn Manson. And I guess that's because people see him as some kind of pantomime character. I don't personally. I think he's got a place out there, and I think his imagery is very good. But I think because his imagery is actually so far extreme, and it's obviously a costume, people just think, oh, he's probably just really regular and dressing up like that. And also he's fucking ugly, and I'm not. And that represents a really horrible threat to people. And the fact that I live my life like this on a day-to-day basis has sinister connotations for people. Everybody's obsessed in some way with sex, sexuality, surgery, and it's not even drugs anymore. They're not obsessed with that. That's like a thing of the 80s. And I don't know what people think I spend my life doing, or if I was given a public platform, what I would incite the nation's youth to do. I'll never really understand it, and it frustrates me terribly, but other times I think, well, I haven't lost my edge. It's good to still actually rattle people's cages, but at the basis of it, we're not second rate, and whatever people may think, Spin Me was a record that changed the course of chart history. It put Stockacre and Waterman on the map for one thing,
Absolutely.
And for better or worse, they did come up with some very good records. If it wasn't for us, you wouldn't have ever had a Kylie.
Absolutely.
You wouldn't have had a lot of other things. We opened the floodgates on those things. With a song we wrote ourselves, I must actually stress, it wasn't a Stockacre and Waterman song.
Yeah.
And we did 2 albums with them, and we put them on the map, and Pete Waterman is the actual first to actually acknowledge that.
Yes.
At us, he'd have just been delegated or relegated to the Divine category, who I don't think was a joke, was very talented. Hazel Dean and a few other kind of B-grade projects. We put him in the A level.
Yes.
And I would have thought that we did bring a musical sound, and I don't say this in any patronising fashion, you must actually wear this as a responsible journalist. We did bring a sound that really was existing in gay culture,
yes,
brought into the mainstream. Now, when that record was initially first promoted around TV stations and radio in the 80s, I mean, I'll be blunt with you, the response was no, that's music for queers.
Right.
That was what radio programmers said in the 80s, and we just thought, there are queers, for want of a better word, who are too young to go to queer clubs, who may just have that kind of ambiguity bubbling away in them. And this record will give them a taste of what goes on in those places. The mirror balls, the spinning lights, the smoke machines, the glamour of it all. And we brought that sound into the mainstream. And I would have thought because it sold so many and it was number one all over the world, and it was the longest ever record it took the longest time to reach number one.
Yes.
It's in the Guinness Book of Records. I would have thought people would sit back now and think, hey, we didn't give this a leg up the first time, and it really did. It jumped over us and it got there, and it is a historic record, and let's lose our prejudices and our stupidity and let's program it on the radio.
Yes.
When it was initially promoted to radio, we were told, and this I understand, it's not R&B enough. All we're playing is R&B, like Justin Timberlake or whatever he's called, and blah, 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 Kelly Rowland and all these people, and I thought, I can get that. Then I woke up one morning and my radio alarm went off, and I nearly jumped out of bed in glee. Oh, my record's on the radio, and I was quite horrified to find it was Danny Minogue's record mixed with mine, with Danny Minogue singing over it. Somebody taken Spin Me and mixed in Danny's vocal and taken me off. Well, I thought, well, that's all very nice, but how can they say they can't play me, but they can play my backing track with Hair On?
Yeah.
And it became more and more prominent on the radio airwaves, and we let it tick away, and then we got in touch with her record company, who denied that they knew anything about it.
Right.
So we did a little bit of investigation, and we found out that her record company, Warner's, had actually been servicing that record to the radio station. They probably hoped that I'd retired to some obscure wool shop in Birmingham, and I didn't even own a radio. They thought I was probably not active in the music industry, and then the legal things went back and forth. Oh yeah, okay, we did do it, but we didn't know you were going to release it. And can we do a mix with more of you on? And we'll program that. And we gave okay to do a mix with more of me on.
Yeah.
And then we get a response that, no, sorry, we're finished with the Danny Minogue record. We don't need you anymore. So it seems that I'm meeting that wall of resistance at radio. And looking at the club stations of Spin Me, where it was number one in club charts for quite a long time, radio usually jump on the back of that. Not with us. I'm not embittered by it. I just don't understand it. I would have thought that at my advanced age it would have been slightly easier, but it seems it's always going to be an uphill struggle. But, regardless of that, I do have a very hardcore fan base, and that can exist without chart status, and that can exist on a very good level without chart status.
Yeah.
So it's not as if they're going to stop me existing. They're just making that final hurdle a little bit harder, and I just would like an actual relevant reason why they're not actually, playing it.
Well, exactly. I mean, what they're saying is bullshit. I mean, Kylie and Robbie, they're not R&B, are they? They're getting
played.
played.
I'm not glued to the radio, I wasn't aware, but I could dig it when they said we're only playing Justin Timberlake and blah, blah, blah. But just on this one particular day when the radio alarm went off, which I never put it on the radio, and ooh, there's my record.
Yeah.
Everything's rosy, and it was Danny, and then it was being played all the time, and people coming up to me saying, oh, I love your record with Danny, blah, blah, blah. And I guess if I changed my name to Granny Minogue or something, it would have been programmed a lot easier if they didn't know it was me. But we're always going to meet this resistance, and we have to find a way of working around that resistance, And it seems ridiculous now that if you're not on the radio, record companies are even in doubt of if they're actually going to release your product. It's a weird situation that radio is ruling the actual orders to shops, and we're killing the music industry like that, because I did spend 48 hours listening to the radio just to become aware of what was going on, and on several shows they played the same records in the same order, and I don't even know why they even bothered to have a DJ there.
Yeah.
Just slap a CD on. There are other things out there, and I'm not just carping on in retrospect to me. There are other things out there that need the airplay. Let the public decide. But it's not a society like that anymore. There is a form of censorship, but it's not a valid censorship. It's just like, oh, we don't like the look of you, so we're not going to do you the favour and put you on the radio. And that really doesn't come under the definition of censorship. It's almost fascism. You don't quite fit what